welcome to Virtual Vegfest Live. I am Helene and I am your host. And this is the second one for August, so that's pretty cool. Might be doing another one, you just never know. But for now, this is the time that I have. And of course, you can watch the Vegan Stew on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, every Wednesday except for the first Wednesday of the month. And we discuss really cool topics. Tomorrow is our Vegans Week. Well, are they? Well, you have to tune in to find out what we think and what we are and what we feel and everything else. So, if you like to win prizes, go to virtualvegfestlive.com and you can enter a wish pond contest. And all you have to do is make a picture, take a picture, creative. Some people have been really creative, and post it with one of our sponsors. Who are those sponsors? Well, we've got Terra Seed, Hodo Foods, Veg Key, Rebel Cheese, Cinnaholic, Fabulous, and Bernie Wild's Adventure Sauce. And thank you to Piedmont Farm Animal Refuge, our presenting sponsor for Triangle Veg Fest and Asheville Vegan Fest, for being our sponsor of our live talks for the month of, we're in August, right? August. Fantastic. Remember to subscribe to Virtual Veg Fest Live on YouTube and hit the notification button, and go subscribe to the Vegan Stew as well. That'd be awesome. And then we have, this was promoted as Disney, vegan food, starting your own vegan business. And that's where Jenelle Cruz comes in, because the vegan business, just so we're clear, is the Garden View Estate BNB that is in Washington that you definitely want to check out, because we're going to learn all about it tonight. And Disney, because we both love it and we're both vegan. So here we go. Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Well, nice to have you on. You put out a cry for, hey, I want to promote myself. And I was like, hey, let's do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Less than a week. Here we are.
Way to get stuff done.
Exactly. It's the way I work. If I see it, let's do it, and we're good to go. So Jenelle, please tell everyone about you, who you are. Let's hear it all.
Okay, that's like that existential question. Who are you?
True.
Let's see. Well, I am a 12-year vegan almost. Next month will be the 12-year mark.
Mine too.
And awesome. That's exciting.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay. Yeah, late September, October. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Mine is September 10th, and that date sticks with me, and maybe that'll come up later as to why. But I'm a registered dietitian, so gosh, I don't know how many years longer that I've been vegan. I've been a dietitian, and I recently left that career. I was working in the Veterans Hospital healthcare system for 11 years before I left to open my own vegan business. So I think COVID was kind of the catalyst, the opportunity presented to move to the country. It's Washington State, which is where I'm from, but about 7 hours north of where I was living at the time, and open a bed and breakfast. And I get to be my own boss. I get to make sure everything's vegan, from the toiletries to the food, especially. That's my favorite part. And all the furnishings and material and those kinds of things. It's been quite the adventure. Been some stumbling blocks in our first year, but I think we're finally through all of those big major first year hiccups. And I'm just enjoying living out here and inviting guests. That's one of my favorite things. I have many favorite things about what I do, but connecting with our guests is definitely one of them.
That's really cool, because it's not easy to find a vegan Airbnb. And it sounds like you take it a step further and you go into the environmental part and the ethical to it.
Yeah, we definitely, unfortunately, our county does not recycle much. That's been kind of a challenge for us. We do what we can. They take cardboard, and we actually take the glass an hour away. So we save the glass up and we take it every couple months to the faraway glass recycler, and then we can do aluminum, and that's about it. So that is a kind of a sad thing. We do what we can there. And then we do grow some of the food that we serve. More so next year, I have a beautiful garden that has 10-foot tall fencing, because we do have deer. So that tall fence is important. And it was left overgrown by the prior owner, so it's going to take a lot of work to get up and running. But I have a beautiful herb garden. We have some edible flowers. We have fruit trees that are nice and well established. So we preserve those and serve those items to guests.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know I have so many questions. So a typical menu.
Yeah. I rotate through maybe 5 really dishes that I have down. So if a guest stays more than a couple days, then I might start playing with new recipes if they're here more than those 5 days, which is really fun. And sometimes they're such a hit that they become permanent rotations. So I like to rotate between a sweet and a savory. So if someone is here for like a weekend, they get kind of a taste of each. So we do waffles, and I make coconut cream-based whipped topping, and always a fruit compote, and that's going to depend on what's in season. We just have been doing cherry, but cherry season kind of just is ending. I did preserve some of those. We do a lemon curd on lemon poppy seed pancakes. I make a really great frittata, and I do it in muffin tins so that I can serve individual portions in these cute little cups. That one's fun because it's tofu based, and not all of our guests are vegan, definitely. And it's always fun to hear them. Either they don't realize that we're vegan and they'll say like, oh, these eggs are so good. Well, actually, that's tofu. And then they're really like amazed. Or they know, but we do tofu scramble and fresh bread served with that. In the summer, I'll do like a acai type bowl, but I don't use acai, like frozen fruit bowl with all kinds of toppings. We do a oatmeal bar, so you kind of get a selection of fruit and nuts and seeds and some kind of drizzle, and you dress your own oatmeal up. Those are the most common ones. Sometimes we do cinnamon rolls when I'm feeling ambitious, because that one does take a lot of effort.
It does.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. So let's go back a little bit. So you're working dietitian, kind of going through your life, and what the impetus, obviously being vegan, a lot of people who are vegan are working in the 9-to-5 world, corporate world, that is furthest thing from vegan, and dealing with all the BS that comes with that. They want what you've done.
Yeah.
Either to work for somebody else or a company that's vegan, or to create their own. So both of us have created our own.
Yeah.
And, I want to hear more about why BNB? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's really kind of a random story. So I'll show you how I ended up here. Everyone always asks, our guests are always like, oh, have you always dreamed of running a BNB? And I'm like, no. But when the idea did present, I was like, oh, that would be a great fit. So I was doing nutrition counseling for the large chunk of my career. Group classes, I did get to teach plant-based cooking classes. That was really fun, and I did get to talk about the power of plants in most any session. But it definitely, once I became the food service manager, so I was the head of the food service department, it's really this balance of finding what the patients would eat, because we need them to get healthy and strong, and what we know is healthy, and it's kind of this line that you have to toe. And definitely they were supportive of the fact that I wouldn't sample the food, which a manager should do, but I just relied on a panel of staff. And so we would meet, I would sample the things that I could, and then ask specific questions about the saltiness level and texture and things like that. But still hard every day, dealing with that. And my parents actually are the reason that I'm here. So I owe them a huge thank you for this life change. I joke that it was their very expensive way to get us to move closer to them. So this was a partnership with my parents. They moved up here. My aunt and uncle live in the area. My parents lived up here for retirement, and they bought a house in town. Then this property went on the market, and they fell in love. It's 43 acres, and we have a lot of history here as well. So this was a convent that opened in 1873, and it was two different convents for about 50 years apiece, and then a boys' reform school in the 1970s, and then it was remodeled in the 80s and is what we see today. So the prior owners that were here 40 years before us ran it as a bed and breakfast back in the 90s, and then they retired and they lived out life here. So my parents fell in love with the property and the views and the history. Their other house was in a neighborhood where you can see neighbors out all four sides. We can't see a single neighbor here. So they said, if we bought this property, would you want to come run a bed and breakfast? And I thought that was a joke. And I said, sure, pay me my salary. I'll be right there. And they said, well, you wouldn't have a mortgage, so you wouldn't need your full salary. So I'm sure that you could make a successful bed of breakfast. And I'm like, oh, you're being serious? And they're like, yeah. So there's a 2-bedroom cottage on property that they wanted to live in, but they're both retired and not able to maintain 40 acres. They're like, you're young and healthy, and you can use the rest of the property for a business, and then we'll live in the cottage. So that's what really brought me here. We flew up, my husband and I, and we saw it, and it took us less than 24 hours to decide that we couldn't pass up such a gift. It was a big change and scary. We both liked our jobs. They were great jobs. We'd both been at them for over a decade. And we decided we couldn't pass that up. So we quit our careers and we moved up here, and now we're running a bed and breakfast. Well, I am. The bed and breakfast is mine. He actually works remotely in the IT field, and he does grass and trees. That's his role around here. Grass, trees, and repairs, like the doorknob falls off or something. And so he's working full-time IT, and the BNB is mine full-time. And yeah, so that's how we landed here. Very gracious to my parents who gave us this opportunity. It's still a big move, and I think if it weren't for COVID, I would have stayed where I was. I liked what I was doing. We liked the area we were in, but the opportunity to do my own thing and make sure everything I'm dealing with is vegan has been awesome.
That's amazing. I love your parents just for, it's something I
will
would
tell them
do.
that. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of them is watching. So
I was like, that's something I would do. I'd be like, hey, if you want to do this, I'll do that. Yeah. But I'm going to live on the property. Yes. You just take care of everything else. I'll take care of this little section. Exactly. And you get this whole perk of like this whole business that you get to start and do something with. And of course, are they vegan? I guess they're very supportive.
Not. Initially, before the business opened, part of the arrangement was I would make them dinner every day. So I would bring dinner to their cottage, or sometimes they'd come over here and we'd eat together. But now that we're up and running full time, that doesn't happen. They've both said they could be vegan if someone else made all their food. So
that's fair.
They're definitely adventurous and will try all the vegan restaurants with me, but they are not.
Okay, well that's actually, at least that if you have the time to make their meals, that they'd be like, okay, and then that time may come. So that's thank you for sharing that. I'm really glad that I asked, because I guess it's a question that I should ask is how did you end up where you ended up? But that is like super, super cool. And of course, before we went live, you have bear, you have deer. What else do you have?
We have all kinds of wildlife. That's a common question guests will ask, am I going to see a wildlife? I can't guarantee it, but I can almost guarantee it, because deer are here all the time. We have apple trees and cherry and some other fruits. So the deer love those, and we have enough to share, so we don't mind. They pick the lower ones, so we pick the higher ones. We have bear, but I have not seen them. They come out at night. They're black bear. I see evidence of the bear. They like to come eat the fruit as well. And then wild turkeys are very popular here, so we see those often. We just startled some poor young ones up into the tree on our walk today. And we have quail, we have coyotes, also saw one of those on our walk today. what else do we have? Those are the big ones. We have a bald eagle pair that lives, technically we have riverfront property, but you can't see it. It's about a half mile through the woods. We have 43 acres, so you can't see all the corners at once, but the river is our property line. And there's a bald eagle pair that live there, and they have 2 youth, and they don't develop their white heads till they're about 3, I guess. I'm learning about all the wildlife. And they come in the yard and hunt sometimes, and they'll be right outside the window. It's amazing to watch them.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you're never bored because
No.
well, you're never bored because you're running the BNB, but you're never bored because I would just sometimes get lost looking out the window.
Yes.
It's
I mean, I definitely curl up in the window with my coffee intentionally many times.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait to come out. I have to plan that trip because I would love to visit.
I think you would love it.
Yeah, I know for sure. That's 100%. So I'm like Disney. So
Ready.
there's one thing that all of you need to know about the two of us is we love Disney. I don't believe I love Disney as much as Jenelle does. But that's you have. How many characters have you met?
Oh gosh, I think 222 is my current count.
How many characters are there?
That's a good question. I made a spreadsheet, and every time I see a sighting of one I didn't know existed, I add it to the spreadsheet. Well over 300, but some of them may have like retired and are never going to come back, and you just don't know that. Probably at least 350. And
Wow.
the new ones at the time with the new movies, they're quick to bring out new characters too.
That's amazing. So one of the things I've noticed in following your Facebook feed is that you've had you travel. You love to travel.
Yes.
Not just Disney, but you do. Disney is a top.
Yes, absolutely.
And why do you love Disney?
Yeah, I think it's 3 parts. One part nostalgia. I just had all my photographs digitally scanned, and I pulled together a bunch of me as like a 6 to 8 year old with characters at Disneyland is where we went when I was a kid. So it's part nostalgia. Just I grew up on those movies and the music. Part escapism, to be honest. It's just like any vacation. You're going to go like relax on a beach. You're not worrying about business or home, and that's part of it. And then the last piece is like magic. I am fascinated by how they create some of the things that they do. Like ride design is amazing, and the details. I don't know how many times I've been, and I notice something new every time. That it's always been there. I'm just now noticing it. So those are the main reasons why.
Yeah, for me, it's a funny thing. We've been going to Disney because one of our drives, sometimes we'll drive and going down, we're both from New York, but now in North Carolina, and we go by south of the border, which is something we grew up doing. Between the North and South Carolina borders, this thing called south of the border. It's the coolest thing, Pedro, and you see all the signs. So we kind of started looking at like when that existed and Disneyland with the 50th anniversary, right? So you kind of go, okay, well, I'm going to be, like I asked Steven the other day how old I'm going to be. I think I'm going to be 53 this year. I was like, how old am I? He's like, well, I'm 53, so you're going to be 53 this year. So I was like, okay. So if I'm 53, Disney's been around obviously longer, like shorter than I've been alive. The 50, well, not true. It's probably 51 and a half, 52 now because they've extended this 50th anniversary for a year and a half. But so it's most of my life. So I remember going when I was 3. And I remember going on the Dumbo ride. And I was just fascinated by Disney, but I also caught chicken pox while in Disney. So my family drove. So on their way back up to New York, they obviously stopped to eat, and people like were staring at them like, where'd you get that child home? They're like, we are. We're 20 to 23 hours from home when you drive from New York to Disney. So I don't remember having chicken pox. I just remember getting chicken pox at Disney. And so it's like one of I've never forgotten that. I also have never forgotten the feeling of going Magic Kingdom, especially was walking into Magic Kingdom onto Main Street, and a smile just automatically comes on your face because it is the happiest place on earth. And there's people watching it probably like, you two are out of your minds, but I don't care because it is to me like the happiest place on earth. I don't know how you, except if you're like a little kid crying because you either don't want to be there or you want to leave, or you're not getting the cotton candy or whatever the hell you want. Yeah. But not that they have that. Well, they do. It's in the stores. They don't have it on the little sticks. Well, it just, and it's funny because for Steven, it makes him happy too. And that's special to have us both have that same feeling individually and together when we go into the parks. And it's just become, it's just that thing. When I was 10, I went with my dad, and my dad loved roller coasters and I didn't. And this will explain to some people like how my childhood was. We're at Disney, we're at Magic Kingdom, but that's all there was. We're at Magic Kingdom because I was 10, and my dad wanted to go on Space Mountain, and I was scared. So he said, if you're not going to go with me, I'm going to leave you. And I was like, I don't want to go. So he did. So he left his 10-year-old daughter at Magic Kingdom, and he went on the ride, which took a while because there was a line.
Right.
So I went on the People Mover, which was there all the way back then. And I remember like the People Mover goes through Space Mountain, and I remember being scared because I was like, is it the ride?
Oh, so yeah.
Right? I was like, what is this? And it just, goes through. But he came back out and found me. But I mean, no parent would probably do that today, but that was like my childhood. On that same trip, we flew into Newark, and we lived on Long Island, which is New York's New Jersey. And my brother wouldn't drive to New Jersey to pick us up. So my dad was like, we have to get to JFK in New York. And he went to look like limo, taxi, and then he saw a helicopter. And I was like, yo, excuse me? He was like, well, we'll take the helicopter. And I was like, I wouldn't go on Space Mountain. You want me to go in a helicopter? And he's pretty much like, I'll leave you in Newark. And I was like, I guess I'm getting on a helicopter. It's a little different, so it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. The pilot of the helicopter, because we kept having to go pick up people. So we were up, down, this, into Manhattan, away from Manhattan, back to Manhattan, pick up. And so because he had a 10-year-old kid on it, he took us by the Statue of Liberty. He took us by like the sights in Manhattan. And I was like, this is the coolest. I was so scared. But it's one of my favorite memories. And then all stemmed from a trip from Disney. And now Disney, it's the vegan part. It is just like it's like a vegan mecca, the food. Yeah. And one thing I want people to know is we haven't met in person. And the reason that I know Jenelle is because of, I'm pretty sure it had to be, it's either the Disney Vacation Club group or it's the Veg Disney group, because we're in both. Yeah. And somehow I started talking about wanting to buy into this Disney Vacation Club thing, and we got to talking, and we private something happened where we ended up private messaging, and that's what started. And what's really cool, Jenelle goes to Disney World and to Disneyland, West Coast, East Coast, but you go to Disney World for marathons. Yeah.
Well, I've done 2 half marathons. My first marathon will be this coming January, but I do go to the Run Disney events. I have this November is Wine and Dine. I'm running the 5K, the 10K, and the half. And then January is marathon weekend. And then my husband, who does not usually love going to Disney World just because we're on the other coast. It's a long trip. Said he will do the springtime runs with me. So we're doing those as well. And that wasn't my plan, but we usually do one Disney trip a year that's kind of like my birthday celebration. And while the spring event is not near my birthday, he was like, I'll do these runs with you, but that counts as your birthday trip. I'm like, okay. So it's Pixar themed, which I'm wearing Pixar things. And the runs are Pixar themed, which is great. I love Pixar. So we're doing that as well.
That's so neat. When are you going to be there in November?
I am there I don't remember when I get there, the 3rd or 4th or 2nd, early November. And then I'm there through, Halloween. I fly in on Halloween and I'm attending a Halloween party. And then I'm there through the 7th when I then am catching my first Disney cruise out of Florida. So I'm at the parks for about a week and then on my first cruise.
So you fly in on Halloween. I will be in Orlando on Halloween.
I'm on a red-eye on the 30th. So I get there at like 6 a.m. on Halloween.
Okay. We will drive down, I think, on the 29th. And probably take our time because it's, 9-hour drive. We have the 30th. On Halloween, I want to go to Universal and do their their Halloween thing because it's more scary.
Universal's
Universal's like the step up. It's like the more adult park. Yes. So than Disney's. So we have to meet. Tampa Bay Vegfest is 11/5.
Oh, I'll have to look. I think I'm running a run that morning, but I might be able to come.
That would be amazing. Yes, we'll be down there we'll be in Orlando from the 30th. That's right, the 30th to Thursday. And then we drive over to Tampa and then Tampa to get ready for Tampa Bay Vegfest, which is on Saturday. And then we kind of leave to go back home somewhere in there. But that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And at the minimum, a meal somewhere because that's like a minimum. And of course, I guess you're staying on property. We're not on property for that one. We're like in this condo thing that I got because I knew we would need to be down there. But that's like ultra cool. Plus, I don't know if anyone caught how many marathons in like one weekend.
So you do the shortest distance first, and then it's each day. So, like the 5K one day, the next day is the 10K, the next day is the half, and you get up wildly early. You have to be lined up by like 4:30 or something. So you get up at like 2:30 to get on a bus by 3 at the latest and line up. It's wild. So doing that's the worst part, is just the getting up that early 3 days in a row. I learned last time I did it, because of my time change, not to fly in the night before, because I flew in the night before just so that I didn't have to spend extra time there, but I wasn't adjusted to the time change, so I couldn't fall asleep because it felt really early to me. And then I probably got 1 hour of sleep before that half marathon. I won't do that again. I will always come in and adjust to the time change first now.
Yeah, that's rough. That's not easy. I did a full marathon. I walked it.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, actually. And that's 26.2 miles for anyone who doesn't know. half marathon is 13.1, right? So people know how many miles it is. Next time you're in your car, clock it. Because that's kind of like what you think. You don't think it's not that far in a car, but it's actually really far. So more power to you because you're not just stopping there. You're like going to the parks. Because I've seen your posts like with the number of steps that you're doing.
Yes. Yeah, you do the run in the morning, and then I find it better to just keep moving. If I like go sit all day, then my legs will get all stiff. So then I'll go be on my feet for 8 more miles of park. My most walked day ever was when I did the 10K back in February. And then my friend that came with me to do the runs had never been to Disney World, so I felt I needed to show her. everything. So we went straight to the parks. I mean, we came back and changed and showered, but then we were there by the time they opened because the runs are so early, and we closed it down. So we were there, I don't know, 14 hours or something. And that was the most walking I've ever done in a single day.
It's a lot. It's another 10K. That's each more. It's 10 miles. It's more than a 10K.
More, yeah.
That you can easily do over the course of a Disney day, even in just one park. We know we do that. So, food.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite food at Disney.
Are we talking both parks? Each park? I can tell you at each coast.
Sure.
I think Disney World does better with their sit-down reservation required restaurants. Disneyland, it's so small. There's only a few sit-down reservation required restaurants to begin with. I think Disneyland does better with their quick service, like just mobile order and grab and go. They just actually took away my favorite dish, but what they replaced it with is pretty good too. But they have these backlot nachos. So they were nachos and they had a vegan cheese sauce and a sour cream, and I think there was avocado and jalapeno and green onion and pickled onions as well. I don't know. They were delicious. And now it's a loaded baked potato at that spot instead, which is also very good. But those nachos were my favorite. And then Disney World, my top choice is actually going to be a quick service, even though I think they do a better job at sit down. There's a lobster roll in Hollywood Studios at a place called Rosie's, and it is delicious. I think it's hearts of palm and maybe apple as the base, and whatever that sauce is, it's fantastic.
Oh wow!
Have you had that one?
I haven't.
Ooh, definitely try it.
All right. Yeah, it's funny. When we were at Hollywood Studios, we were looking to like get into somewhere, but everything needed a reservation. We didn't have one. So I don't even know what we did. We just like, we ended up at Old Key West or Saratoga. Which one were we staying at? We're staying at one of them. We ended up at the restaurant on property and just ate there instead, which was good. I think Olivia's. That makes sense, right? So I think that's where we ended up, and that was fine. It was hot. It was really hot, so it just made more sense. We've gone, and each trip we try to hit something new. That's I look in Veg Disney a lot to try to get like a feel of what makes sense, what we want, what people feel liked. And last trip we went over to Ohana for breakfast.
Yeah.
And we should probably explain some of this. Ohana is at Polynesian, and they have a vegan plant-based breakfast. Well, you can eat is essentially what it is, if you're capable of eating more than they give you in the first place. And they start you off with like this delicious juice. It's the Hawaiian themed property. So the juice reminded me of when I was in Hawaii, because it was that passion fruit guava type drink, and that's unlimited. And then they bring you donuts, and the donuts are from Erin McKenna's. So they're vegan and gluten free. And no allergens, because Erin McKenna's is like the no allergen bakery at Disney Springs. And I was more than aware that those are Erin McKenna's. And I was like, these are like $5 a donut. So we got 2 more just because they're like $5 a donut. That's the only thing. Well, we did. I think we got a couple of things refilled, but that we definitely got more of.
Yeah.
And then the plate has the Disney waffles, which are vegan and gluten free, the vegan egg, which is just egg scrambled, and potatoes, and Beyond sausages. I feel like that's all that was on that plate, and fresh fruit. In addition to that, and the fresh fruit. And this is what they serve you, and enough for the 2 of us to eat, and coffee for Steven. And it was delicious. And the view is of the Polynesian, of the pool, and then you can see Magic Kingdom, and it was just beautiful. And it was wonderful. It was a great meal to like It was like lunchtime by the time we ate. So that was really neat. It's not my favorite meal, but it was the new meal for the last trip. But
Mhm.
then Cape
Ah.
May with Chef TJ.
Oh yes, I did that.
Yeah. If you get lucky and you're vegan, because you probably are watching this, and you go down, you make a reservation at Cape May, which is at the yacht club, right? Disney Yacht Club?
Beach club?
Disney Beach Club. And this is also an all it's somewhat all you can eat. There's a buffet which has vegan items on it, which Chef TJ showed us. Not that we needed that food, but he didn't mention. I didn't know. I didn't really know what was coming. Like I've seen pictures, but I didn't know what was coming. We got enough food for like at least 4 people for the two of
Yeah.
us. He created a 4-course meal that was spectacular. And the only thing that what to me wasn't spectacular was the dessert. But
Oh really? I love the dessert.
the little
Tower.
of cakes, and I ate the
Yeah.
strawberries. But I mean, the cake was just, blah to me. But I was also like disgustingly full
Yeah.
from the meal because we didn't know because we ate like all the corn.
Oh, that was the
Thinking,
best part though.
no, and you're not really thinking about what was coming. So we kind of, after the second part, Stephen was like, "That's it, right?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." He was like, "I think that," I was like, "I don't know." And then they came out like the meatballs and stuff. I was like, "Yo, this is, yeah." And then dessert, and that was after we like got salad and a little bit of soup and like some other stuff from the bar. He was like, "Why did he even show us that?" And he giggles when he puts the food down. He literally giggles because he knows that
Yeah.
he's, and then he sees that you didn't eat everything, and he's like, "You didn't finish," and you're like, "Who can finish this?"
I went with 2 girlfriends, so there were 3 of us, and I feel like the amount of food is the same for 1 to 4. So 4 might have been the sweet spot, but even 5 people probably could have been plentiful with all of that.
I mean, absolutely amazing. Like amazing. That was like probably one of our favorite things. And then last year we also went to the Whispering Pines.
Oh.
And in the lodge, the Wilderness Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And Whispering Pines Cafe, I guess it's called. Now, I didn't know what we were getting into, but they play games. They like had people screaming about needing ketchup. And then every ketchup bottle was on one table. And when another table would scream, "We want ketchup," they had to pick up every ketchup bottle and move it to that table. And this just kept going on around us. And I know, like for Steven, he was like, "We're not doing that." So it was fun to watch like what was going on. And that was again, because they do all these meals that pretty much they're all you can eat. And that was dinner. The cornbread and the coleslaw were out of this world.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's funny the things that you pick out, like out of this world. And I mean, the rest was like, the Beyond sausages and some others. It was just so much food that we got more coleslaw. We got more cornbread too, I'm pretty sure. And they took that. And actually, we didn't have to. They gave us enough. It was like 4 slices. And that, yeah. And another favorite for Epcot, we love going to Spice Road.
I haven't been there yet.
It's our secret way to watch, which isn't so secret, to watch the fireworks and the show. Without paying like the $70 a person for the closer seating. Right. Every time for every trip we go to Spice Road, and we kind of watch at this point we don't really need to watch the show, but sometimes we'll go on a ride. But it's really good. I mean, it's very simple. It's more tapas type thing. Mm-hmm. But if you're there to watch the show, there's like no one in there except for the people that paid.
I will have to do that. It's on my list because the food looks fantastic, but I'll have to time it with a show.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I think that's the easiest way. Just walk up and ask for outside. And last time we went, like last trip, July, was the busiest we've seen it, and still nowhere even close to where there was an issue. Like we pretty much were sat down almost immediately. And we usually bring a pretzel in there, a pretzel from Germany.
Yeah.
It's, and that's been like years worth of like Disney, of like going to get shaved ice in Japan and like a pretzel from Germany. And the popcorn's vegan, and pretzels are vegan. That's the snack foods that keep you going, because the salt and the carbs to get you through like all the walking that you do. And then you ever watch the people, especially since you're a runner, like walking around Disney in flip-flops?
Yeah. I don't wear the best shoes. I know I should wear like fantastic tennis shoes in the parks, but I usually wear like flats or kind of like kid style tennis shoes that aren't tennis shoes, because I like to dress up when I go to the parks. So I wear actual dresses usually, and so I don't want like real big tennis shoes, but so I kind of feel for them, but I don't know how they do it.
Especially with the heat, like the last few times it's been so hot that we kind of look at people and go, are they going to die today? I mean, being obnoxious, and I'm more than aware of that. But have you seen the people like just walking around? I don't know how they're doing it, because it's really hot. And even if it's not hot, you are walking, no matter who you are, especially if you go to Epcot, you are walking minimum 5 miles.
Yeah.
If you do all the countries, minimum. There's no way to get around it. It's like a mile to the countries.
Yeah.
So and how and something we just, because as we walk around we just don't understand. And I'm in my really good sneakers. That's all I wear now. It's my sneakers to get to do anything. So Vegfest, because on Vegfest days I can walk 10-15 miles in a day. So the Disney days are just normal. But yeah, it's obnoxious, but Stephen, if he was watching, he'd be like, I don't understand it too, because we talk about it. But yeah, it's like the best place. And I don't know if we can really convey that to somebody who doesn't understand, and also the privilege that we have to be able to.
Yes.
That's, I think, a really big deal, because we've kind of set our lives up so that's our thing.
Yeah, I don't dine out. I don't get coffees out. Like, I don't really spend money on other things. Travel is my preferred thing to spend my money on. So that does take, I'm busy at the BNB in the summer, like packed. So I know last summer I worked 90 straight days. So I don't feel too bad when I go to 2 weeks on vacation in the winter, because it's like all my weekends added together that I didn't get in the summer. So yeah, but definitely we don't have children, and that makes a difference. We're just paying for 2 adults, or sometimes just myself. I've made a lot of Disney friends, so I'll go by myself and then meet up with friends or not. I like it on my own too. And that makes a difference. I know saving up for a family of 4 or 6 would be daunting.
Oh, yeah, the parks. Do you have an annual pass? You do, right?
I do at both coasts this year, but I'm not renewing Disneyland, which is my home park and my preferred park. But I just know I won't be going enough this next year to make it worth it, because I am going to Florida for the runs, and I can't be everywhere all the time. So Florida took preference this year. And I'll be renewing that one, but I won't be renewing Disneyland. I'll probably go like twice and just get park tickets when I go. I'm going in September, and that one I bought park tickets for, because my pass expires this month. So I already bought park tickets for that, and then I'll probably go once during the winter for a long weekend or something.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, I haven't been to Disneyland since I think that same year when I was 10.
Oh my goodness. It's my home park. It feels like home. I can tell you where everything is and about everything about that park. So I prefer it. Plus it's easier to get to for me being in Washington. It's a lot shorter flight, and I can find budget flights for like $90 round trip. So much easier to get there. And yeah, so I'm real sad not to be renewing my pass, but it doesn't make financial sense. So I'm letting it go.
Can you get an annual pass in California? Because obviously, if you don't have one,
they just announced today. You can't get new ones, but they announced renewals. They weren't even. Everyone was in the dark, and most people's expire this month because they got it the day they went on sale after it reopened post-COVID. So everyone had no idea what was going on until today. So you can renew only, and then I think once they see that probably a lot of people, because the prices went up a lot, might not be renewing, myself included, and then they'll probably sell some more again.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, favorite ride?
Oh, that's easy. That one's easy.
Okay.
Haunted Mansion. The room that we're in, it's very boring blank wall right now. Used to be my Disney room, and really that means Haunted Mansion room. I think aside from a like classic Disneyland sign, everything was Haunted Mansion. I'm moving all of that to a different room. I decided to put my exercise bike in this room, so it's no longer my office. All of that's in a box until I figure out where it's going to live now, because I don't really need an office. I have a laptop. I just use it at the table on the counter and here. So, but Haunted Mansion by far, I'm a big Halloween and spooky fan, so I think that's what it is. But just the creativity and the ballroom scene is my favorite. I went on one of the special tours where we got to see how they do the dancing ghost effect. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my favorite Disney memories ever, is that tour. And I'd seen it in documentaries, but just like fully grasping how that worked until I got to see the underworkings, I couldn't quite grasp. So that's the easy question. Haunted Mansion. I have a large Haunted Mansion tattoo. My whole calf is like a wraparound calf sleeve. That's my favorite of all 50 plus of my tattoos that I have. It's my favorite. So
that is really cool. It's like ultra. I'm pretty sure when I was a young kid, I was probably scared.
Yeah.
Only because it was a ride, mechanical.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't know, like, is it going to drop? Right. And it does. But, and one thing I do remember that is the most special thing for, I think, for any kid, is when the ghost comes into your car.
Yes.
At the end, and you're like, as a kid, you're like, you can't grab the ghost, but and the elevator, the stretching elevator, because you just don't realize that you're in an elevator. I know, right? It's like, and of course you see pretty sure it's in the DVC group that they got evacuated from the one in Disney World.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was posted yesterday, and they just posted like evacuation from Haunted Mansion. That's all they posted. So I was like, all right, is there more to this? So I read the comments. These comments aren't bad. They explained to me like how excited people are when they get evacuated from a Disney ride.
That's on my bucket list. I have a Disney specific bucket list, and that's on there. Hasn't happened yet.
That's, we got stuck on Test Track last trip, and we were stuck for a good probably like 10 minutes or so. And because it had broken down and they reopened it and we went back on, and it was fine the first time, but they were like, you want to go again? And we were like, okay. So we went on again, and that's where we got stuck. And I was like, let's not do this again. And I was thinking, what if they stopped it and someone was going like that 60 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Like what happens then? Do they kind of let them go and then stop? I was like, because that's a big jolt. Yeah. You're going 60 miles per hour and the game breaks. So but I was thinking, you do get, think I never even thought about how cool it would be to be evacuated. But some people were saying that they were at like the top of the roller coaster at Animal Kingdom, and they had to like go down 26 flights.
Yeah, I might not enjoy that, but I think I would still be happy that I got evacuation off the ride. I've been broken down on them many times, but never long enough they felt the need to take us off. So
Yeah, and then the other person said like Pirates of the Caribbean, they put on waders and they go into the water and they pull the boats to the side and then you get out.
Well,
I know, and the whole thing is to see the background, to see like
right.
what's behind the
What's it look like
scenes.
with the lights on or the stuff you don't get to see?
Right, which I really never thought of until that like yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and so many people were like, "Oh, I can't wait for it to happen to me," or "It's happened." I was like,
Yeah, I figure if I ride enough rides enough times,
it'll
the
break.
probability will get higher and it'll happen eventually.
That's so funny. Our favorite rides right now, because it keeps changing with development of the rides, is at Animal Kingdom. I love that roller coaster, but in Pandora, the flight of the I never remember the name, but that is freaking amazing.
Yeah,
And
it is. It makes me a little nauseous. The screen-based rides. That one's not bad because it's not like wild, but
right.
That's why it's not in my top, because I've learned just to take a like Dramamine every park morning, just because I love the roller coasters and all the wild stuff, but they do make me nauseous. So
I'm thankful that that doesn't for me.
yeah.
I do have an issue with vertigo, but I don't like. Thankfully, it has been an issue since I had it for months over like like November through like February, but that. But then Guardians of the Galaxy.
I haven't been on it yet because it's new and I haven't been back, and I am so excited. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I have one of my most special tattoos is not just a Guardians of the Galaxy tattoo just cause, but my cat who I had for 15 years, his name was Rocket, so like Rocket Raccoon, but he wasn't named after Rocket Raccoon because Guardians wasn't out when I got him, but we kind of made that association later, and he passed away, so I got a memorial tattoo for him, which is his cat head on Rocket Raccoon's body from the movie. So he's got a little raccoon tail and like the armor, but then it's my kitty's face. So it has a special meaning to me, and I'm very excited to see that ride.
Oh, it's pay for it instead of doing the lightning lane. Just get it. You get on so fast, and it's the time value of money.
Yeah.
And plus with COVID still, and it's still rampant in Disney World because we both got it there. You're not around people as much as you would in the virtual line.
Yeah.
Is that you're probably still waiting like up to an hour to get on ish, but whereas you pay for the lightning lane and you literally are just walking on and getting to that point where they're just queuing you up to get into the cars.
I'll have to do that. I don't know how. I have spent probably at least 4 full weeks since COVID began in Disney World, and I've been COVID free so far.
I bet we stopped wearing masks at Disney. And
the last time I went was right when they took them away, and even on transit, like the monorail and the buses didn't require them anymore, and it felt so otherworld. And even then, I think I was there 2 weeks that time, and I don't know how.
Yeah, it's weird because I got it in May and Steven got it in July. And that, the May trip, we actually went and we got into the preview of Guardians of the Galaxy. And I mean, right, it was me that time. Yes. So that thankfully wasn't that bad, but Steven got it in July and was really sick, and I didn't catch it from him. And I moved upstairs because he was really sick. But I mean, it's hard to be around that many people so close together, Yeah. Many of the rides push you very close together, and it's at your own risk.
Yep.
Being there, it's all over the parks. You're at your own risk, and of course, people are like, and they're still going because they spent all that money to go. So we'll just go sick, and it's like, well,
that's why you need travel insurance, everybody. Don't go places when you're sick.
Please, because you make other people sick. That's not fun. So thankfully it hasn't happened there, but we haven't been there long enough, I guess, for it to happen. But the May trip was literally fly in, go to Magic Kingdom. Next day was the Epcot, and then we flew home the next day. We were literally in the parks for one full day, and plus the extra hours at Magic Kingdom the night for like 2 hours, hour and a half, which I think is the coolest thing ever. But yeah, we can talk Disney forever because each park has like your favorite things. Right. I'll tell you one ride I'm not going on anymore. I'm not going on the Aerosmith roller coaster anymore.
I say that every time because it's pretty intense for me. And then I went with 10 friends. So there were 11 of us in January, and we did a VIP tour. We pulled together to do a VIP tour for my birthday, and we each picked our favorite ride across all 4 parks, and that was our itinerary, was to do everybody's favorite ride. My husband picked that one, and he knows that I have said like never again. So I felt that I had to because it was like a big thing. So I did, and every time I do it, I say I'm never doing it again.
My head, it just kept knocking my head into the rest, and I just decided this needs to be upgraded. After you're on Guardians, you won't. Even when your husband goes on Guardians, he will never go on Aerosmith again.
Well, because then I need to get him on there.
You need to get him on there. There's nothing smoother than that ride. So I got off the ride, and Steven was like, "Oh," and I was like, "I have a headache," because my head just kept pounding. I had to like hold my head without my hands. It was like it hurt, and I just said, "You know what? I don't need this," and I'm like, "I'm good." And he was like, "Yeah, they really need to update this because it's Aerosmith and it's 2022.
Yeah. I have a feeling it'll at least get they may not change the ride mechanics at all, but I have a feeling it's going to get a retheme.
Right. Some more current music.
Yeah, or even a whole different concept than the limo thing. There's probably something else they could come up with.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's already in the plans as well.
Yeah.
That's one I'm done with. But Terror Terrors is just cool as shit. It's like, because they change up the drops.
Yeah.
And we never buy our photos.
Mm-hmm.
Like we never do it, right? And we bought the photos from that day because in the video from Tower of Terror, Steven, my hands are up in the air, which I never do. So my hands are up in the air, and Steven at one point says hi, and you can see him like waving hi. And it's like the coolest thing. I'll send it to you. It's the coolest thing like on the planet. I was like, this is like, we have to do this. So we took some extra pictures that day because I knew I was going to buy the day.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah. So basically what people have learned is that we're Disney fanatics. We're fans of vegan food. Mm-hmm. We both have started our own vegan businesses, and we're pretty much living our dreams. Does that sum it up well?
Sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, and I can't wait to meet you in person.
I know. It sounds like it's going to work out. That's very exciting.
I know. Right, because we'll be back. We'll be back in that trip because we'll be for Tampa, and then we're going for my birthday in December. So that's what we did last year, and this year we're doing that again. And then we'll be back in February for Steven's cousin's wedding. So that's planned too. and we need more points. It's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, I've used all mine up for the next year's worth.
How many points do you have?
The minimum 150. Well, it's not the minimum. I think it's the minimum you can buy directly from Disney.
Yep. But yeah. Yeah, we both need more points. Thought about it, thinking about it, have put bids in for resale,
Ah,
but Disney keeps buying my deals. So
darn.
it's okay. No, it's all right. We're in and we're happy. And you make this conscious decision that this is what we want to do. Because that was the point of, is this where we want to go? Is this how we want to vacation? I mean, we figure it's like a 10-year
Mhm.
investment because at 53, 54, 63, 64, I think that's, I don't know where we'll be at that point,
Yeah.
but I mean, probably a little longer, but it's putting an investment of time frame onto something as a 10-year thing and seeing the value come back, and you can sell it and get a lot of your
Yeah.
money back. So
Yeah, they
that's,
actually really hold very well.
yep.
I don't know that I'll keep my points forever, but I fully intend to celebrate my 100th birthday in Disneyland. I've already got plans. Most of my friends are older than me, so I'm going to have to figure out who's going to come with in case I'm in a wheelchair or something, but I have plans. That's the day I am going to Disney jail. I'm going to get myself kicked out of the park on my 100th birthday.
How are you going to get, do you know?
Oh, I have a plan.
Oh,
And I don't know if it's audience appropriate. I'm going to start to take my clothes off in the park, and I'm going to hope that they just assume that I'm old and confused. But yeah, if I can make it to 100, that's the day I'm going to see what it's like to be put in the Disney timeout room.
there's a Disney timeout room?
Yeah, it's like a little holding cell. When you if you get in a fight in the park or something, they'll stick you there until I think real police come. But some things people do get them like permanently banned from the parks and stuff. I figure if I do get permanently banned from the parks, I got to go for many, many years, and I'll survive my last little bit without it.
That is awesome. And yes, you do need to figure out like if everyone's kind of older than you.
Yeah.
At 100, I mean, bless your heart, you're vegan, so you could be, walking and fine, maybe
I
just
may be.
cane, you know, with all the running, your knees may give out.
The running won't be a long term thing. I think I'm in a phase right now, and then I'll just do more leisurely activity in a few years.
That is awesome. Can I ask, how old are you, if you don't mind?
38.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I won't be there for your 100th birthday.
Yeah, I've got quite a few years to go. We've already talked about like the park's birthdays. Well, we'll still be around for the park's 75th, and I'll be around for Disneyland's 100th for sure. So we are already planning. I have a group of girlfriends who are big Disney fans, and we travel together to Disney a lot. And we're like, okay, we're going to go to the 100th birthday together in a few decades.
That's really cool. Well, that's a plan. The 75th, I mean, I should be, still taken for the 75th. And it'll, yeah. I mean, that's, I guess, what we'll, kind of what we'll do, because it's just, it's a great place, great food. You can relax. You can go anywhere from, 10% to 150% and be happy. Even though every time the last trip was supposed to be like one of those like 50% trips, and Steven got mad because I was like, let's do this. He was like, this is the relaxing trip. And I equate Disney to being in Vegas and being in a casino. Let's gamble.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
It's kind of
Let's
like
go.
that.
It's right. He was like, this is exactly like that. And I that's how I feel. I was like, we need to get everything in. It's like we were just here. So how much more we need to go on this ride. Because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But he likes to sit by the pool and I don't. So
Yeah.
he
Sounds
did.
very
I
similar
went,
to my family. My
yeah.
husband's like, too much plans. I'm like, but if you don't plan, you don't do it all.
We should just go. We just leave them home. Steven wants to come, but like we should all go and they can be
Well,
by the pool
exactly. Yes.
and we can
You
pop
guys
in.
relax, and we're gonna rope drop.
Yeah, we actually tried to rope drop. We made it too late.
Mm.
It's hard. It's early. I don't like being up that early. But
Yeah. In case anyone's wondering, what in the world is rope drop? It's basically where you get there when the park opens, and they actually have a little like ceremony where they drop a rope so you can enter the lands. And so it does require being up quite early because you got to get through security and get through ticketing before the posted opening time. So yeah, it's early morning.
yeah, we wanted to do that at Hollywood Studios just so we can get on certain rides
Mm-hmm.
and not have to wait like forever to ride them. We kind of missed it, but we were still ahead of the game because we got onto the Slinky Dog ride, and instead of waiting like 2 hours, we waited like an hour. So cross benefit for getting there early, it worked, and plus
Yeah.
it being so hot, getting there earlier it just made
Yeah.
more sense, and then you just kind of left because it was too much, and then we found that going back in the evening was actually hotter than
Oh.
it was being there earlier in the day. So I didn't want to do that either. And we didn't leave like last trip. We have a car each time, but we didn't even go into Orlando because normally we'll go get local food.
Yeah.
We just didn't even bother. It just wasn't I just didn't want to drive. I was like, I don't want to pay the tolls
Yeah.
as well, So we rent a Prius, so we don't have to pay for. We only have to pay for like a little bit of gas comparatively. But all right, this is a lot of fun. So how do people get in touch with you? How do people,
Yeah.
if they want to stay at the B&B, how do they do that?
Yeah, well, we have a website, and you can book direct on the website. We've had guests from as far as Alaska and Florida and California come visit because we're a vegan bed and breakfast, which has been really cool that people are willing to travel that far just to see us. So it's Garden View Estate, the letters BNB. So the name is a nod to the prior owners. It was called My Parents' Estate, which kind of sounds maybe like a nursing home, but it's because their last name was Parent. So it was My Parents' Estate. Now we're Garden View Estate B&B. You can book on the website. You can also find, we have both Facebook and Instagram. Same thing, Garden View Estate B&B. We're the same across all platforms. And then if you are really into the Disney stuff, I have a personal Instagram that is just all about Disney. It's the Year of Disney with underscores between each of those words. So I post all of my trips there. Nothing recent because I haven't been in a while, but I am going in September, October, November, and January. So there'll be lots happening over there pretty soon.
Can you say that to me again so I can catch it?
Yeah, the Year of Disney with underscores between each word.
Okay, let me go backwards. Underscore here, underscore of, underscore Disney. Year of Disney. On Instagram, right?
Yep.
Reason my comments are not showing up. I don't know why that is, but we're still on, so I know the internet works. All right, well, we'll see what's happening with that. There it is. Okay, it is showing up on the live, but it is not showing up in my comments here. So there it is. Okay, cool. So Garden View Estate on social media. And then we'll do this one, the Year of Disney on Instagram. That sounds really cool. I want to start like a YouTube or something about because of all like the food and that part. I know that it's out there and exists already, but I'd like to continue and do more with that from our trips.
Yeah.
And just incorporate that more into like everything that we do. But I look forward to meeting you in October,
so
November. Yes. And I really appreciate your joining me on Virtual Vegfest Live.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Here we go. Thank you once again for watching Virtual Vegfest Live. A reminder that you can watch the Vegan Stew tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Stew crew will be, having a conversation about our, Vegans Week with Ellen Jaffe Jones leading that conversation, who is the perfect person to do that. Be kind, be nice to one another. I don't know when I'll be back doing one of these, but it'll be soon. You never know. Go to virtualvegfestlive.com, enter our contest, win really cool prizes from our sponsors. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That is greatly appreciated. Help us grow this channel and help us educate and share with your spheres so they can learn all about starting your own vegan business, Disney, food, and just, having fun watching two people have a cool conversation. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Bye.